You're sitting across from a 23-year-old woman at a coffee shop. The same woman your ex-husband left you for 6 months ago. She's nervous, fidgeting with her cup, avoiding eye contact. And you've got a folder in front of you, thick with papers, photos, documents. She finally looks up and asks, "Why did you want to meet me?" And you smile. Not a cruel smile, but one that says, "I'm about to change your entire world." That's exactly where I found myself 3 weeks ago. And what happened next? Let's just say, karma doesn't always come when you expect it. Sometimes, you have to deliver it yourself. If you've ever felt the sting of betrayal, if you've ever wished you could make someone understand the truth they refuse to see, then you need to hear this story. Hit that like button right now, subscribe if you haven't already, and buckle up, because this is one of the most emotionally satisfying journeys from heartbreak to justice you'll ever hear. Let me take you back. 15 years. That's how long we were married. 15 years of building a life together, supporting each other through grad school, career changes, family deaths. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but I genuinely believed we were solid. We'd talked about finally starting a family, about buying that house we'd been dreaming of. I was 42, still in good shape, successful in my career as a corporate lawyer, sharp, independent. I thought those things mattered. Turns out, they didn't matter enough. The signs were there, looking back. The late nights that became later, the phone angled away from me, the sudden interest in the gym, new clothes, cologne I didn't recognize. But you know what's funny? You never think it's happening to you. You think you're too smart, too aware, too together for that kind of cliche. Until you're not. I found out on a Tuesday. Isn't that pathetic? Not even a dramatic day of the week. Just Tuesday. I'd come home early from work, a rare thing, because I'd won a major case and wanted to surprise him with his favorite dinner. Thai food from that place across town, the one we went to on our first date. I had champagne. I had plans. What I walked into instead was, well, not him with her. Thank God for small mercies. But his laptop, open on the kitchen table, messages streaming across the screen. Her name was Madison. Of course it was. And the messages. God, the messages. My hands went numb first. That's what I remember. Like my body knew before my brain fully processed it. The folder of photos, the hotel receipts, the "I love you, baby," and "she'll never know," and "just a few more months until I figure out how to leave." I stood there for 20 minutes, just reading, absorbing, watching my entire life rewrite itself in real time. Every recent memory suddenly had a different meaning. Every working late became a lie. Every "I'm tired tonight" became a rejection in favor of her. She was 23, a paralegal at a firm he'd been consulting with. Pretty in that fresh-faced, no-life experience kind of way. The kind of girl who probably thought a 38-year-old man was sophisticated, worldly, mature. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the laptop through the window. But instead, I took photos of everything, every message, every receipt, every single thing. Then I closed the laptop, put it exactly where I'd found it, and went upstairs. He came home 3 hours later, whistling. Actually whistling like he didn't have a care in the world, like he hadn't just spent his lunch break texting another woman about leaving his wife. I was sitting in the living room, lights off, just waiting. "Hey, why are you sitting in the dark?" he said, flipping on the light switch. I didn't move, didn't look at him, just said very calmly, "How long?" The color drained from his face. In that moment he knew. And the thing about cheaters, they always think they've been so clever, so careful. The panic in his eyes was almost satisfying. Almost. "What are you..." "How long?" He didn't even try to deny it. Maybe he was relieved in some sick way. The lies get exhausting, I suppose. 8 months, he said quietly. 8 months. 8 months of coming home to me, sleeping next to me, making plans with me. 8 months of looking me in the eye and lying. "Get out," I said. "Can we just get out?" And here's the thing. He did, without much of a fight. He packed a bag, muttered something about needing time to think, and left. Just like that, 15 years, and he walked out the door in under an hour. I didn't cry that night. I was too angry to cry, too betrayed, too busy realizing that the man I'd loved, the man I'd built my life around, was a stranger. The divorce was messy in the way these things always are. Lawyers, mediators, endless negotiations over who gets the coffee maker and the couch and the life we'd built together. He moved in with her almost immediately, posted photos on social media within a month, her in his apartment, both of them looking stupidly happy. My friends rallied around me, told me I deserved better, that he'd regret it, that she'd realize who he really was eventually. All the things people say when they don't know what else to say. But I didn't want their pity, and I didn't want to wait for karma to maybe, possibly, eventually catch up with him. I wanted her to know the truth. See, I'd done some digging. Professional hazard. Lawyers are naturally good at investigation. And what I found out about my ex? Let's just say Madison wasn't the first. There had been others. Not affairs exactly, but situations. A coworker 5 years ago that got too friendly. A client who he'd taken to dinner one too many times. Nothing I could prove before, nothing concrete. But a pattern. My ex had a type. Young, impressionable, easy to impress. He'd shower them with attention, make them feel special, play the role of the sophisticated older man. And then, once the novelty wore off, once they started expecting commitment or got too serious or, God forbid, started aging, he'd move on. Madison had no idea she was following a script. I spent 3 months gathering everything, not just evidence of his cheating, but the full picture. His finances. Turned out he'd been hiding money, setting up accounts I didn't know about. His past relationships. I tracked down 2 ex-girlfriends who had enlightening stories. His behavior patterns, the manipulation tactics, the lies, the way he'd gaslight anyone who questioned him. I wasn't doing this to hurt her exactly. I was doing it because she deserved to know, because no woman deserves to build her life on lies, because maybe, just maybe, if someone had warned me, I would have avoided 15 years of wasted life. But how do you approach your ex-husband's new girlfriend without looking like the bitter ex-wife? How do you make someone listen when they're in love? When they think they've won some kind of prize? You wait, you watch, and you look for the crack in the facade. It came in the form of a social media post. Madison, posting about how they were talking about the future and so excited for what's to come. Hearts and sappy quotes about soulmates and destiny. And in the comments, a mutual acquaintance, someone who knew both of us, posted, "Didn't he say the same things to his ex-wife?" The comment was deleted within an hour, but I saw it. And more importantly, Madison saw it. I sent her a message that night, simple, professional. "Hi, Madison. I know this is unexpected, and you have no reason to trust me. But I have some information about him that I think you deserve to know. I'm not trying to interfere. I genuinely believe you should make informed decisions. If you're interested, I'd be happy to meet for coffee. No pressure. Delete this if you want. But the offer stands." I didn't expect her to respond. Figured she'd block me, show him the message. They'd laugh about the crazy ex-wife. But 2 days later, I got a reply. "When?" We met at a coffee shop downtown. Neutral territory. I got there early, picked a quiet corner table, ordered a coffee I didn't drink. My hands were shaking. Not from nervousness exactly, but from anticipation, justice? I'm still not sure. She walked in looking exactly like her photos. Young, pretty, uncertain. She spotted me immediately. Probably I was the only woman in her 40s sitting alone with a folder, and made her way over. "Hi," she said quietly, sliding into the chair across from me. "Thanks for coming," I replied. "I know this is weird." "Yeah," she forced a laugh. "Definitely weird." For a moment, we just looked at each other. I could see the defensiveness in her eyes, the way she was braced for an attack. She thought I was going to cry or yell or call her names. Instead, I pushed the folder across the table. "What's this?" she asked. "The truth." She opened it slowly, like it might explode. The first page was a timeline. Dates, events, patterns. When he'd cheated on his college girlfriend. When he'd overlapped relationships in his 20s. when he'd started his thing with her while still married to me. "I don't understand," she said, but her voice was shaking. "Keep reading." The next section was financial records. The secret bank accounts, the money he'd moved around during our divorce, trying to hide assets. The credit card statements showing he'd been taking someone else, not her, to fancy dinners during the first month they were exclusive. Her face went pale. "There's more," I said gently. "The interviews with his exes, the pattern of behavior, love bombing, isolation, gaslighting. The way he'd told each of them they were different, special, the one. The way he'd promised each of them a future he never intended to deliver. And finally, the text messages. Not between him and me, between him and another woman, recent messages from 2 weeks ago." Madison's hands were trembling now as she read. Her eyes filled with tears. "He said," her voice broke, "he said I was different, that what we had was real." I reached across the table, not touching her, just present. "That's what he told me too. 15 years ago," she cried. Not dramatic sobs, but quiet, gut-wrenching tears that come from your whole world shifting. I sat there and let her process. Didn't say, "I told you so." Didn't gloat. Just waited. "Why are you showing me this?" she finally asked. "Because you deserve better than I got. You deserve to make a choice with all the information. But you could have just let me figure it out on my own." "I could have," I agreed. "But how long would that have taken? Another year? 5? 15? How much of your life would you have wasted?" She stared at the papers spread across the table. "He's going to say you faked all this, that you're just a bitter ex." "Maybe," I said, "but you know it's real. Deep down, you already knew something was off. You just needed confirmation." She didn't argue, because I was right. We sat there for 2 hours. She asked questions. I answered honestly. I told her about the good times too, because there had been good times, but also about the patterns, the red flags, the moments I'd ignored because I wanted to believe in us. "What should I do?" she asked finally. "That's not my decision to make," I said. "But whatever you choose it with your eyes open." Madison left him the next day. I know because he called me absolutely furious, screaming about how I'd ruined his life and turned her against him, and had no right. I let him rant, and when he finally ran out of steam, I said very calmly, I gave her information. She made her own choice. If the truth ruined your relationship, that's on you, not me. He hung up on me. Haven't heard from him since. Madison texted me a week later. "Thank you," it said. "I don't know if I would have had the strength to leave without seeing all of that. You saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life." I didn't respond. Didn't need to. The message was enough. People ask me if I regret it, if I feel guilty for interfering in their relationship. And honestly, no. Because here's the thing about revenge. Real revenge isn't about making someone suffer. It's about balancing the scales. It's about taking back the power that was stolen from you. He took 15 years of my life, built them on lies and betrayal, and he was about to do the same thing to someone else. I didn't hurt him, not really. I just showed the truth, and if the truth destroyed what he was building, well, maybe it wasn't worth building in the first place. Madison deserved to know who she was falling in love with. Not the persona, not the act, but the real person. The one who views relationships as disposable. The one who sees women as interchangeable. The one who will always, always be looking for the next best thing. And me? I got my closure, not from his suffering, though I won't lie. There was some satisfaction in his panic. But from knowing that this time, the cycle stopped. This time, someone didn't waste years of their life on a man who didn't deserve them. That's not revenge. That's justice. Sometimes karma needs a little help. Sometimes the universe needs a push. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't destroying someone's life. It's just making sure they can't destroy anyone else's. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been betrayed or wished someone had warned you before you made a huge mistake, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment below. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have reached out to her, or let karma handle it? And of course, subscribe for more real stories of justice, revenge, and people getting exactly what they deserve. Thanks for listening, and remember, the truth always comes out eventually. Sometimes you just have to help it along.